Hello guys, it's Keira playing Pokemon Yellow. We're in Lavender Town right now. This is where like the creepy stuff's at in the game if you know anything about the originals. Well, over here is this sort of like the cemetery where there's dead Pokemon, like there's gravestones and everything on the inside. You have to have this thing called a scope to do anything because otherwise you see like these weird little ghost sprites and you just can't do anything until you get it. Because you have to decipher the ghosts to battle them. It's really kind of neat, and you can also battle like different women in there. I guess they're like mediums, if I remember correctly. And they have ghost Pokemon too. But like I said, we have to wait till we get the scope. The house that we just left was a name raider, so if you don't like the name of the Pokemon that you gave it, or you want to change it, you just kind of go to him. There's nothing much we can do right now. If we went down here, there's some water and stuff, and some water trainers, but I'm not going to worry about that at this moment. So we're going to go this way. I'm going to go ahead and get on my bike. Oh, one thing I really am glad that they changed, and like pretty much gold, silver, and on, is in this one you have to go to your PC and deposit and re-grab items to change the order, and then like in the other games after that you can just go to the menu and do it. So that is one thing I am so happy about that they changed, because that was really annoying, but that's how I got my bike first. And also like in 2nd gen, you can also register items, so you don't have to go to your menu each time. You could, like, if you wanted to cut down a tree, you could just press A, and it'll be like, do you like to cut tree? If you have a Pokemon with the move. But, I mean, they had to work out some kinks, I suppose. One thing also about Lavender Town, there is no gym. So there's that. All that's pretty much there is for the cemetery. And I mean, I could make it go faster by skipping some of these battles, but I like to actually show the people battles, even though I do skip them occasionally. Oh, and I forgot to put up my Clefairy. I'll do that next time I go to a Pokemon Center. The next time we're going to go to, I believe it's the biggest one in the game. Yeah, I'm almost 100% sure it's the biggest one in the game. Maybe it's not. But, that's where the 4th gym's at, and it's a grass-type gym. So Charmeleon's going to do really great there. And it's actually probably my 2nd favorite. My first one's like later in the game. You go against Blaine and it's on an island, and I just kind of like how it's set up more than like actually for the fact that it's a fire gym. I like how different it is. But yeah, if you honestly haven't played these games before and you really like the anime, or you want all 3 starters without having to trade or any of the weird glitches, definitely try Yellow. But most people I know kind of like Red better. But I personally always liked Blue. Like, Blue was the one I played most, but I had all 3 games, and I still do. Even though you can download them now on your DS. Like, I still have the originals. Unfortunately, the battery still works, but if you went and bought an old one, you have to worry about that. Because if the battery expires, the game will play, and you think it'll save, but it won't hold a save. But you can buy replacements and things like that, but if you have a DS, it's just so much easier just to go ahead and buy the DS version. And I really hope they would do it for like the other games, but they won't because they made remasters, which Soul Silver I honestly believe is the best completely redone game. Like, I mean, there's other HD remasters and stuff, but as far as like they rebuild it from the ground up, like Soul Silver is probably the best remake of the game that I have ever seen, and it's so much fun, and I actually like it better than the original. Man, I hate seeing. think it's crazy that like double kick always hits twice, but if you do double slap, you can hit up to 5 times. And what I love about these games so much is like it's been all these years, and I've beat the main story of the game like 150 times at least. But like I never get tired of it. I love to just restart and play it. I've never fully completed any Pokédex on any Pokemon game. I've gotten pretty close actually with Soul Silver and with Emerald, but I've never fully completed. But I know people who have, and if you look it up online, if you don't know anybody who has, one thing that really sucks is all you get is like this little certificate at the end. Like you don't get any like cool moves or like nothing special happens, and you can complete it without getting like Celebi and Mew in the newer games. And this one you don't have to have Mew, but like Nintendo, really? All you get's a little piece of paper? I really think that is a sucky way, because I mean, I know you're supposed to go to gym battles, I know you're supposed to do other things, but like the prime objective of the Pokemon games is to quote catch them all. And when you do, all you get is a little certificate. Like, what makes you not want to do it? Especially when you have to like trade Pokemon just to get certain Pokemon. Like if you want Alakazam or Machamp, you have to trade a Machoke or like a Kadabra, and it's just like, really? I don't know. It always just kind of annoyed me. And I was so glad that I had a friend who beat it before me, and it was actually with the original Red and Blue. I think he had Red, but when we found that out, we were just like, nah. Like, and then back then you had to have actual link cable, and I didn't even have one until Ruby and Sapphire came out, when they came out with wireless. Let's see. But like, I don't know. I just always thought that was very crappy of Nintendo to do. Like, I don't know. I just feel like maybe that's when you should get Mew. Like, I mean, I know he was an event Pokemon in most games, which really sucked, because if you miss that event, you can't get him without, like, an action replay or a game chart, depending on how old we're talking here. But I really feel like since you can complete the game without Mew or, like, some event Pokemon, like, it'll actually say that you completed the Pokédex without them. Maybe that's what you should get for, like, actually completing them, instead of a stupid little paper in the game that does you no good. Or maybe, like, a special TM, or I don't know, it's just like, because another Master Ball would be almost pointless, but I don't know, I just always thought that was really crappy on Nintendo's part. It makes you just not want to do it. But now, with the DS games and stuff, there's Pokebank, which is really cool. I think it's like $5 a year or something like that. And you can get 1 month free, which you, I can't remember if you got Mew or Celebi, but I'm pretty much sure it's Celebi. And, like, you can just put, like, you have different boxes and stuff, and you can put your Pokemon in, and bada bing, bada boom, it's, like, there. Like, so if you wanted to restart your game, you wouldn't lose your Pokemon. And if you, want to put them on a different game, you can. And what's cool is, like, if you want, like, if you still have the old games, you can, go and, like, put them in a Poke Park and recatch them, which I always thought the recatching them was kind of weird, because, like, you automatically get them regardless, but I guess they just didn't want to make it too easy by just, like, automatically depositing it into your game. So if you, like, have an old DS that has, like, an old Game Boy cartridge, like, holder thing in it, you can remove them off there and move them straight to your game, which is really neat. And I would totally recommend that if you have a DS and you're going to play with them. Now we're in Celadon, which is the big city that I was talking about. And the first thing I'm going to do is come back here to the old building. And this is where the Game Freaks, I guess, wanted to be in their own game. Which, I mean, I don't care. But this is where you can get Eevee, which is really, really cool. The only thing I hate, though, is you can only get, like, one Eevee in the game. And back then, you could only have 3 Eevee evolutions instead of these. Let's see, here's 3. Eat. You can only have Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon. Jolteon's the fastest and arguably is the best electric type in the game. Flareon, in my opinion, is the cutest, and I love Flareon. That's what I usually pick, even though he does have the worst stats. And a lot of people are like, Flareon sucks. But, I mean, I like Flareon a lot. And Vaporeon's pretty cool too. Like, I believe he has, like, I can't remember what makes him special, but I know he's supposed to be better than Flareon. Which in red, blue, like, yeah, red and blue, like, depending on what you have in your team, like your starter and stuff, it's kind of easier to pick which one you want, because then you can balance out your team better. But in this game, you get all 3 starters, so you have fire and water. And while, like, there's not a grass type of an Eevee evolution in this game, like, you get Pikachu, so you have your electric type. So it's all personal preference when it comes to this game and what you really want to go for. And what's cool about Eevee is it's probably the only stone evolution, I believe, that if you go ahead and evolve it, it can learn moves afterwards, because most of them will stop learning moves after you evolve them with a stone, which I think is really dumb. But I mean, that's how the game works. So I mean, there's nothing we can really do about it. Here is where you can get different prizes if you buy coins or you want to win. Which I usually just buy coins. Like, and you can get Pokemon, HMs, or moves. Oh no, that's it. That is HMs. I can't remember. Like, I know you can get Pokemon and HM. You can buy coins from these people. But we have to talk to this dude. And I really, like, hated this section. I've always hated this little section, because he's gonna, after you battle him, he's gonna move, and you're gonna have to go downstairs and get, like, the elevator key and all this fun stuff, and you're going to be on these mats that spin you really, really fast. And it's, like, kind of retarded. And you have to figure out where you're supposed to go, which that part's not the part that I mind. It's just the whole maze. It's just, like, annoying. But we could go get Erica first, but I'd rather go ahead and get this part out of the way. And I always thought it was crazy that he, like, yelled at you about the poster. Like, I know it's just a game, but logic's like, I would have never known if you wouldn't have said anything. Like, nobody would have thought to look behind a poster. But, I mean, that's pretty cool. Man, this is the longest I've ever talked on a video. I figured I'd try something new. I usually just kind of stay quiet after my intro. And I don't think this will be like an every video after this one kind of thing. But I have decided I might try to talk more, which I said earlier, like, if there's any tips or anything, I might just insert it. But after the intro, I just haven't inserted anything. Even when I had issues with one of the older videos, when the cord I was using to show my DS screen on my computer, I was kind of like, nah, just put little text on there. Oh, and talking about evolutionary stones in this game, you cannot evolve your Pikachu, because it's supposed to be like the anime. Which, I mean, that was the appeal of this particular game. But it still kind of sucks. You kind of want to ride you, and you can't catch Pikachus in this game. So if you want a Raichu, you're gonna have to trade another Pikachu in, or you have to trade in a Raichu. Because like, while Ditto is an option in this game, because it is a first gen Pokemon, there's no breeding. Like, we saw the daycare center, Pokemon in this game aren't male or female-less. They're like Ninarina, whatever. I normally know how to say these Pokemon names, but I haven't slept in like over 30 hours, so my brain's kind of just dead. Well, I'm gonna be done talking for now. I have nothing else left to say. I'm not used to talking so much on videos. So I hope you really enjoy the video. I hope my voice doesn't annoy you too much. And thanks again.